Yeah, there's various ways. Like, I think what I do know is that the research is still kind of like it's still something that needs to be looked into more as to like
Yeah.
why it happens, where it's coming from, right? But essentially, you're just like you have to. Oh, this is an important thing too. The activity that you're doing in order to get into that flow state, it has to be um, not too hard to the point where you're not successful, and not too easy that you become bored. Does that make
Mm.
sense? So it has to be like that
Yeah.
perfect middle ground of something that keeps you engaged, um, and something that you enjoy doing.
Yo, my people. What up? My guest today was my first guest ever, Greg GDANIAN. So it was good having him on the mic with an actual mic and the actual whole setup and being in a studio, unlike the basement last time we were first filming. It's cool reflecting on where I've come and where I'm going. So once again, me and Greg still touched on a lot of podcasting. We talked about work ethic. We talked a little bit of Marvel and DC, and we also we exchanged some gifts along the way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation with, just one of my good old buds. And stay tuned for next week. Next week's going to be a big podcast, one of the ones where I've done over 20 hours of research, and my guest that I'm doing it with has to on the JFK assassination. So stay tuned for that, guys. That's going to be a fun one. Enjoy the convo. What's up, guys? This is The Last House on the Left. This is where I chop it up with my friends, kill time, speak what's on my mind. And my guess, if anyone knows their Last House on the Left history, was the first ever guest. He's a podcaster. He's one of my oldest friends. I could go on and on, but y'all know him. Y'all know his beautiful face. Greg GDANIAN, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to be here.
Going good, going good. I've said this in several podcasts. It's so weird. Like, I say hi to people when they walk in the building. Then we like say a couple things right beforehand, and then I say like hi again to you like 3 times in a row. So it's very very surreal and kind of like, oh, maybe I'm becoming more of a, what's the word? I'm becoming more like business like about it. But
Yeah, no, you should. It helps like get the guests warmed up, to talk to them beforehand and everything, and sometimes it even makes for a better podcast if it's more natural in how it goes about.
yeah,
But yeah,
dude, think it like it's so funny. The first couple podcasts I did, like it was just like they were just test runs. They weren't like real things or whatever. I remember we did it in the basement. Specifically, a couple people we know, some of our close friends, like that basement backdrop is ugly or whatever. I thought it was like kind of almost cool in a way because you had all the pipes and whatever in the background in the unfinished basement. But dude, we used like 2 mics, and then we had to use like your camera audio because excuse me, my own mic setup didn't even work or whatever. I didn't even know how to use the mics or whatever. It was just like, oh, I'll figure it out. And thankfully it's better. But now you can come to a mini studio. Like, as you can see, like with the backgrounds and whatever, I'm just starting to, because I might be here longer term than I originally thought. So I might be here longer than a year. So, but having to get these mic arms over time, and even just getting stuff like the wind filter for the mics was a big help too.
yeah,
So
it's nice. Now you have an actual professional place, like you said, for people to come to.
yeah, next thing is probably a new table, because this table, bro, is probably like made in the 70s or 80s, dude. It's been here forever. We were saying earlier that you haven't been here in like forever. So we'll have to do like the whole tour of the building and whatever. But even when we were younger, man, and we would do like your when your brother and Chelsea would do like youth group when we were younger, and we would do like hide and go seek or like tag or whatever, we would play in the whole building. It's like, dude, this place is creepy as hell at night for being a church, man.
Oh yeah,
It's like, oh, I'm gonna get murdered or Art the Clown's gonna pop out.
we literally called it the scary basement. Like
Yeah.
the whole bottom floor is I mean, technically the basement is like the lowest part of the floor, but the basement is also on the bottom floor of this building. So
Yeah, and I guess the basement was always here because it was like originally a restaurant, and like the early
Oh, yeah.
80s, and then they added like the sanctuary and whatnot. But it also was a place in Milford, so I'm wondering, I'm like, maybe like the whole restaurant part where you would sit down was like the foyer or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I have nightmares about this place.
do you
Like being
have any trauma?
like being trapped here, or like and wandering the halls, weird stuff like that.
Well,
I have
yeah,
weird dreams.
because your dad was the pastor here for 20 years, right? Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, 25. Something like that.
25 years. Dude, I'm almost 27, so like my whole life he was pastor. That's weird. That's that's nuts, but whatever. Enough about that. So, it's just nice to be able to actually have
Yeah.
a little space and
Yeah.
whatever. I used to pay rent for this, but then I haven't seen the main guy Mark Williams on. I'm going to actually have him on the podcast soon, but I'm going to do a little trial run of like a couple pastors and this old guy that well, not old, but like old from like memory. Jesse Andrason's probably going to just jump on here too.
Nice.
The last guy I just had on, David St. Germain, we were using like, I forgot what the name of the mic is, but they're like the pro podcast ones. He was telling me, I'll bleep out the number, but he was telling me the mics were each.
Wow.
So if you listen to the last one or whatever, go listen to that, guys, if you can. I'm also on a run in April, man. I told you this as well because I'm trying to do the 3 podcasts a month. So I missed one in March, so I'm going to try to do 4 in April. So you are one of the 4. You're 2 out of 4, and I might do one other one. So yeah, man, it's good to have you back. I think that's just the flow of the conversation. If anyone goes and listens to just like that first episode, could not that it couldn't have been worse. Like in a way, because it's just like the camera was crazy. Like I didn't have socks on. Like my feet were up. And like, I remember Keegan like was commenting. He's like, hey, keep the feet in the picture, please. And I was like, wow. It was like it was annoying.
And then we had the podcast with the other guys too, for a bit when we lived at home.
Yeah, I wish. Can we find that file anywhere? Because I think I mentioned it once.
I don't know if I
Forever
deleted
ago.
it. It might still be on YouTube. That's debatable.
It's
it might
definitely could be out there in
it
the
might
ether.
still be on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at least 3 episodes. The first one was definitely the best, though. It was the most fun.
I don't even remember what we were talking. I remember at the end we were talking about like
I
lucid dreaming.
I think I paid someone to make. I paid someone to make us an intro song for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, was that who was that guy?
So his name's Aaron. He actually helps me right now with my business.
We'll
I
get
do,
into
I
that
do
later.
online. Yeah, I do online fitness coaching, but he's kind of like been like in a mentorship role for me now. But in the past, we've worked on like rap music together. He's a producer.
What's his last
He
name?
produces his own music. Aaron Bailey.
Aaron Bailey.
I think it's we'll have to put his Instagram up somewhere.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
It's like the Baileyan or something like that. But anyways, he I want to say he made me a intro track for that podcast. It was pretty good. It slapped.
All right, guys, cutting it here because it took me a minute to find that guy's Instagram. But I do remember he's actually on. I don't know how much we definitely talked about your podcast or podcasting last time. I kind of wanted to continue some of that as well.
Yeah. We talk about all the content.
Yeah, this guy. So this guy was on your. He was on your podcast, right? Or he just helped out
No,
with some creative
he
stuff.
wasn't on my podcast, but I knew him.
Oh, I'm thinking of Brian
through college.
Meldrum.
Yeah, Brian was another one who I've done different stuff over the years, right? Like I did a podcast. I rapped at one point. So,
Yeah.
like
Let's pull that up.
Yeah, Brian made the intro track for my podcast. And
Oh,
then
okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So if you go like my podcast, the intro on that kind of slaps too. He made a couple different ones, and then Aaron made the intro for your the Five Guys Live one that we did.
Really? Nice. I don't think I knew that. The outro like drum track that I have from
Yeah.
here is just a Logic it's not like Logic AI or whatever, but it's like a
Pre-made.
it's like a pre-made like set, and then I kind of like twiddled with it a bit, and then it
Nice.
is what it was. So yeah, so this is Greg's podcast, guys. For anyone who doesn't know what's called Sets and Reps, you're not doing it anymore, right? Or are you
No.
thinking of getting
The only thing I was thinking of doing, it's really not at the forefront of what I'm trying to do right now. The only thing that I was thinking of doing with it is a ebook type of thing where I take all, because I have about 50 episodes. If you consider the ones that would have enough value for this, probably 40 that I can take and put into an ebook of just stuff that I've learned because I've talked to a lot of interesting people. That's what I was going to ask you too. I did most, probably all of my episodes through Zoom. I didn't really do in-person ones. Is that something you ever considered?
I don't know how to do it. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
So, if I could, so really quick, here's this is YouTube.
Oh, you got my.
Because it wasn't coming up on Spotify for some reason. It comes up on my phone because I follow it and whatever. So.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
What are you gonna do? Like play the intro or?
What the fuck?
You playing the intro or the
Okay, hopefully that got all that last couple audio because it just skipped for a sec. But this is Greg's podcast. Is this coming up? Oh, it's super super low. Hold on.
That was a fun one. I think I did this during I think I did the podcast during the pandemic, but it was also during college, so it was like a good way for me to escape my
Oh, it's just super
oh boy.
low.
This is old. This is from
This freaking yeah. I'm having issues still with my.
That's okay.
I hate this. I'm so sorry, guys. The audio still. When I had David Saint Germain in there, whose job is literally to do, his job is to do all the audio for.
It's still playing in the background. Just
Yeah, I'm pausing it now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, just no.
It's weird because if I pull up like another video, different videos will be louder and whatnot. But when it comes to you were saying, anyways. So as you were making your podcast, that was just a thing where you had a set goal of you wanted to do X amount of podcasts with X amount of guests, correct?
I called it the hit list just for fun.
Nice.
It's crazy because I was super organized with it, which I think is cool. Now that I'm trying to run a business, it's cool to have that skill. But it was really simple. It was just an Excel spreadsheet with everyone that I wanted to have on, and like I think at one point it was people who were like kind of iffy. I wrote their name down anyway, but it was definitely like solid. Like, okay, this is the 10th person I'm going to interview. This is the 12th person I'm going to interview. And it was just color coded. So it was like, I think it was green. I color coded the box in the spreadsheet green if I had already interviewed them. And then it was like, it might have been like yellow if I recorded the conversation and didn't edit it yet or something like that.
Okay.
But,
gotcha. Good old Excel sheets. I know.
Yeah, that was the hit list. That's how I organized like how to decide who I wanted to interview.
Yeah. So when you're creating the hit list or whatever,
yep.
For me, there's probably right now like cycling in my head right now. Your episode. Sorry guys, I got a little bit of a frog in my throat. You're episode 28, so I've probably repeated, like 6 or 7 people probably already, but I have several other. I would say probably 5, 6, 7 people right now that I'm going to have come in that have never been on before. So I don't have like a length of time about when it's going to end. But
when the podcast is gonna end?
Yeah, I don't have like a certain.
Oh no, you don't. I mean, you don't have to have an end in mind. You just do it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying
until it kind of like forms into its own thing as you go. It's weird.
Yeah, the biggest reason why I wanted to do this, one, because it was like I was at a point in my life where I was feeling very stuck, and I've always been like doing like music, or I've been involved in, whether it was worship teams or doing like my own music on the side, even with our old friend Jeff Damon when we recorded an album. We should talk about that in a sec, because I don't think we ever mentioned it.
No.
But
I still have I I still have the Facebook page actually, and
Yeah.
and
I can't get rid of it. Death I Defy,
I
right?
can't get rid of it either. It's still there. People still like it. It's so weird.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get likes on
I
it.
was trying to find it on SoundCloud because we don't have links to our songs there, right? Because I was like,
Dude,
I put it up on SoundCloud.
Maybe. I don't think so.
But whenever I finish Subhuman, the album that I have written except for drums, whenever I get my fellow drummers together, I'm gonna.
If I still played, I would do it for you. But
I know.
I
you
mean,
would.
I could probably just pick it up because I'm that good. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you could maybe. It's just
No.
now, like I'm not. It's not like I'm like this great guitar player or whatever. But now, like a lot of the bands I listen to, it's more like complex, like rhythm patterns and whatever. But nothing like crazy. Because once again, I listen to a lot of metal, but it also I don't. My own music could never be metal. It would be rock because I could never I don't have fast fingers and I can't be like all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I just had the podcast because I was listening to I started really listening to podcasts like 2020 or maybe a little bit before then when I started doing one of the first podcasts I started listening to actually as a podcast because you watch stuff on YouTube and whatever that are essentially glorified video podcasts, but it was Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz and Nakash because I was doing Amazon at the time. Who are these guys? It randomly popped up, and I thought it was a sports podcast, and it really never. They would always go on so many tangents and whatever, and they could never wrap things around. So that's how it started. And for me, the biggest reason why I want to do this is one, it's fun. It helps me focus actually because it's super hard for me these days, staying focused and having a set of goals and actually achieving them, writing stuff down and everything. And I want this to be a capsule of time because 10, 15 years from now, I'll be oh, holy cow, I was 26 and now at the time single and didn't have really much of a career yet. And then I'm 35 and I'm look at all this. And then
Nice. In your six-figure
yeah,
home.
Oh man, that's a problem with me, man. I'm to be honest, man, it's just that whole it's wanting to move forward in your life, but then also dude, have peace and try not to compare yourself. I won't mention the place where this happened, but we'll touch on our album thing in a quick second because like I said, I got a couple questions for you and other topics. I got a gift for you and vice versa, so we'll all get there eventually if we can tie it together. But me and you were at an event a month ago where there was people from all all walks of life and whatever. And at the time, I was I was just unnecessarily in my head, where it was just a place where I didn't know a lot of people, and I was Craig, I'm tweaking out, dude. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Being unnecessarily awkward. There's times where being socially awkward, in life, you will always have socially awkward situations.
Right.
I hate it so badly, so I'll try to be as friendly or outgoing, be yeah, of course, and doing my stupid, and my mom calls it, or Abby calls it, my mom's phone voice whenever she's on the phone. It's yeah, absolutely. How's your? My mom always denies that she has a phone voice. My parents have
an inflection. It's hello. That's I got that from them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember that you were Where do you think that? You think that came from a fear? Was it a? You had a lot going on that trip, but what do you think it was?
I don't know, man. I just was been thinking lately that I feel a little bit of anxiety now when it comes to some social situations, and
hell yeah,
I was at a party last
anxiety.
night. Yeah. What was that last thing you said? Sorry.
We love anxiety.
We love. I heard. Yeah, I thought love. I didn't hear love. I heard something anxiety. So my bad. I know I hate anxiety. It sucks. I've only had it. I feel I only had it when I got depressed or whatever. So
try OCD. That's a nice flavor too.
Yeah, but
Anyways, I don't know where we.
Oh, all I was saying is that at the time, it was weird how I was so comfortable plummeting and just being oh, I'm a piece of like everyone's better than me. Like I don't know how to talk to people. All these people are rich and make more money. It's like, Ben, you yourself are so open about like seeing the worth in someone outside of their.
Mm.
Try not to play with this wire specific,
Oh.
or this one rather. You can play with this one, but
I'm just.
no, it's cool. The that whole thought of where like outwardly I'd be concerned of how I would come off to people, but then it's like, dude, you yourself like you give off like pretty reasonable and normal and friendly and caring and hopefully like engaged in conversation
Yeah.
energy. But then it's like you think people aren't going to do the same to you. Like looking at
Someone's not gonna look at someone's not gonna look at you and say like, "Oh, what are you doing with your life?" You know, like deadbeat or whatever.
I know, but
No
in
one's
my
gonna say,
mind, like I
but
convinced
yeah,
myself,
right.
and I'm aware
But you,
mentally. But when I'm in the moment, it's like, dude, it's like all logic goes flying out the window.
yeah, exactly.
It's annoying.
You hold on to those rational thoughts. You know, the rational thought is like, "Hey, I'm just gonna be me," and conversation is a two-way street, so someone else has to contribute. It's not just gonna be me.
Yeah. And even I was talking with like customers and random strangers even before I did Amazon or FedEx. I was doing it through Blue Sky when I would have to talk to like customers whether they'd be upset about something or
Yeah,
different things. And it's like, dude, I worked on like nice people's properties and I was always respectful. And like it's I feel like I know the phrase match your energy it like usually refers to like someone you're trying to like date or get someone's number or whatever, like, oh, they're matching your energy and this that.
yeah,
But it's just so interesting that double-minded thinking where you're ridiculously hard on yourself and then you're very like, what's the word, you're very not you're very like charitable to like the world and like, oh, people can treat me whatever, but I have to be this savant or whatever. Sorry, guys, that I'm not explaining this well, but all I was saying is that at the time, being a very social person and friendly person, it's weird now because now I'm like unnecessary. Like we're having like family gatherings, or like I said, I went to a party last night, which was fine. Like the worst thing about like going to a party or whatever, and I don't even really think I'm a partier. Like at times, one of our friends like enjoys or several of my friends like enjoy the atmosphere and I'm like I enjoy like drinking. I don't really enjoy the party
the mingling.
atmosphere. Yeah.
Well,
I just don't like fake conversation, I guess is
yeah.
what it would be. Small
One
talk.
couple of things there is like, it's kind of advice I give, or I've given or talked about before for someone who's like new in the gym, for example, and like let's say
Bring this a little closer if you don't mind. Thanks.
let's say they're new in the gym and they're like worried about whether other people are looking at them and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like one thing you can do is like look at other people, you know. So if you're like at a party and you're like, oh, I'm worried if people are gonna ask me about what I'm doing with my life, we'll ask them about what they're doing with their life.
Yeah.
You have this podcast. You said you want it to be like a time capsule. It can also be a chance for you to like exercise your conversational skills and learn, you know, ask questions. And questions open doors. That's one of the biggest things.
I'd like to be able to talk to different people of different backgrounds. And I think a lot of, obviously this is like a very simple thought, but not everyone grew up the way I did. And I mean, me and you grew up pretty similar. And think about how like different people me and you are today. We're like super, super different. But then like a lot of my close friends are like I'm thinking of you and like two other people in my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm very like very different from sometimes. But it's also like just effort too, and being genuine and stuff. So
If you can keep this in if you want, but I'll put you on to like one of the resources I use to get my guests. I think it's free, and I think you need at least.
Please tell me about this. Yeah.
I think you need at least 10 episodes of your podcast, which you have. It's called podcastguests.com.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably told me this, and I probably went in one ear and right out the
I don't know
other.
if it's guests plural or if it's guest, but you fill out a form. You fill out a form, and your show gets. Somehow I got an email after I filled out a form with like 60 people, all with their own like portfolio of this is why I should be a guest on your podcast, and you can look through.
Really?
And so I got a ton of my guests from that website.
So yeah, go into that for a minute, because your podcast really focused a lot on fitness, health, dieting. Tell me about all the different, because you, once again, if I didn't say this in the first time or earlier today, you had basically 50 episodes, 50 different people, right? Or 40. I think you told me 44, right? Was the number 45?
Well, like it's kind of like what you're doing now. The first several episodes were like just like with my friends as I was figuring out what to do. So
I'm just chopping it up though. Yours were much more like serious and business. Like I feel like.
yeah,
I
had
just like
questions written out that I sent to people ahead of time, just because I thought, well, if I was going on someone's show, I'd want them to send me like information ahead of time, kind of so I'm not going into it blind.
Sorry.
But then no, it's all cool. But that's not how you run your show, right?
With some people, I have stuff prepared now.
Yeah.
For other guests, because now I'm gonna have this next one, the podcast after this. I'm covering the JFK assassination. It's something I've just looked into. I'll try not to like go on and on about it, because else I'll just start going into every single thing. Like, dude, I mentioned this when we were at El Tapatio last week.
Shout out.
Shout out to them. Where it's such there's so much information and historical accuracy to that many people just aren't aware of. And then there's like obviously conspiracy theories and different strains of thought that are up in the air, because when you're dealing with clandestine spy organizations like the CIA or other federal things like the FBI or DIA or whatever. It's very that's something where I want to make it not like educational, but more like, oh, I'm actually covering a topic and I'm doing all this research. So
nice, dude.
I put in like 20 or 25 hours of research. So it's probably going to be a long podcast and stuff.
Wow.
Hopefully you can have time to look at it at some point. That'll be with Shane. But going back to you were saying, so you just went and they had all these things why they should be on. Did they care about how many numbers you had?
I
followers?
don't think they cared about listens. I think they just wanted you to share your FM, or I forget what it's called. It's like the one link that your show goes on everything. There's a name for it on Spotify or Anchor for Spotify, whatever you use.
Okay.
But yeah, so I found a lot of my guests there, and then I think I made a lot of connections on Instagram.
Yeah.
So for the podcast guests, right, website, you get their email and their contact info. So I just emailed them typically. It was like, hey, I'm so-and-so. This is what my podcast is about. I'd love to have you on to talk about this, this, and this. And then they're like, sounds great. We scheduled the interview. It was all over Zoom. So I had my Yeti microphone with the USB cord plugged into the PC.
Might be in there.
Nice. Excuse me. And then I would schedule that interview and then run with it. And then for the Instagram ones, it was like a DM with the same idea, but a little bit more informal. Sometimes I would like chop it up with them a little bit and be like, hey, that's, swipe up on their Instagram story or whatever and be like, hey, like, how's it going? Or comment on something that they posted. And not everyone said yes to it, but definitely like I can count on one hand how many people
said no.
refused.
Yeah.
So, it was sets and reps basically. Since my background's in fitness and physical therapy, the idea of like doing sets and reps from an exercise standpoint and relating that to every day you're putting in the reps to the goal or whatever you want to accomplish. So you have that everyday output, everyday reps that you're putting into your goal and completing those. So I was interviewing people from various fields, asking them about what their process was for doing that. So,
well, hey, this might be a good time to do a little self promo for you, and if you want to give a little. Give me like let's do a little ad for your business. And so once you do that, we'll go into like your thoughts on building a business, starting one up, and So your time starts now.
Nice. Well, listen, if you are regardless of whether you are someone who is active or not active, maybe you are currently doing a workout program and you want some guidance, or you're independent, you want someone to keep you accountable, or you want to get started with your fitness journey, or maybe you're working out from home, maybe you have limited equipment. I love working with people who are know what they want, know what they need, and I can meet people where they're at. I offer independent coaching or live sessions virtually, but basically just want to make fitness more accessible as an online coach. Not having to meet someone at a gym. We can do the workouts your way, whatever, however it works for you. But I will kind of create the plan, and you follow the plan with me based on what your goals are. So, yeah, Watchtower Fitness is what I'm trying to run with.
Watchtower Fitness?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
it.
And your Instagram handle?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Greg Build Skills. Right now I'm just posting content. Big thing right now is related to injury prevention and in how that relates to fitness, right? Because you don't want to just go crazy with what you're working on, especially if you've had an injury in the past or you have aches and pains now. You want to not stop yourself from doing things necessarily, but you want to come at them in a little bit of a different way than you might have before. So right now I'm posting a lot of content about like injury prevention and common ways that people botch doing certain exercises and stuff like that. And there is a link in my bio if people want to work with me directly. There's a little form they can fill out. But yeah, man.
Sweet. You heard it here first,
do.
guys.
I've only been doing it for a few months now, so I'm fairly new. But I have the 6-7 years of in-person training, and I'm basically trying to take that online.
Right. And how many clients are you working on right now?
I have 2 online clients, and I have about 8-ish in person.
Yeah.
And then I have my physical therapist assistant job. That's full-time.
Nice, man. Cool. Well, I was glad we were able to get that out. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. However you want to cut that. Watchtower Fitness is not like officially licensed yet. It's just
Okay.
I've only I haven't marketed myself to it online, but I've put that name on a couple of the resources that I've given out to people, or people that I onboard know what I am and what my business name is, but I have yet to make a sole proprietor or LLC.
Yeah. Okay.
So I want to do that this year maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting now that I'm a couple years older now, and I was starting to notice it at the end of Blue Sky, where I was noticing people that run their own business, and think about Jeff Greska even just down the street over in Milford as well, where it's man, running your own business is tiring and exhausting, and there's really no days off.
That's hopefully with online coaching I can make it kind of run itself, eventually once I get established and then start to scale. The goal is that hopefully I can hire people and make systems that put it together, and then when I'm 40, 50 is when I actually want to open a gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before the online fitness coaching, I always wanted to open a gym. I thought that would have been so cool,
Shout out to your mom back in the day in the mid 2000s doing curves and everything.
Yeah, for sure. I still have people that I meet today that tell me that they know my mom from Curves.
She's a legend in this area.
Women's fitness that I don't know. I don't know if the company exists anymore, unfortunately, but
nice, man. So your work ethic, man, where did that all come from? I remember when we were living together, and I remember just starting to see, not you were ever a lazy guy or whatever, but I was starting to see you, I guess the term these days would be lock in and hone in on certain things, specifically doing your podcast a certain way and releasing like just being like very disciplined in the output of your labor and whatnot. So tell me about that. We talked a little bit about work ethic with Dan Toms a couple episodes ago, and I'm sure like everyone has their own journey into where they get where they are. But you're definitely like it was funny. I was talking to my parents. They asked about you or whatever the other day. I'm like, I was mentioning just similar things we've talked about, but then also there's this like new form of like stoicism. I feel like in you as a person now. Maybe it's just like you and us finally becoming adults, right? But in part of think about in society, like a really big thing is like kind of personal coaching and hustle culture. Like I don't want to, well, you know how some people like are flip out about like Andrew Tate, like they love him because he's like a real man and he's like business and working your ass off and just grinding until you get to the next or till you get to the top and grabbing life by the balls and making it, conform to like your wills and your wishes. And I feel like hustle culture is very much huge right now. Like hustle just for the sake of hustling, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to burn out, but you definitely have to work for what you want to a degree. Um, so I probably started from. I usually tell people that my dad never gave me an allowance, but I worked for him when I was younger.
Me neither.
um, like basically $5 an hour, I think, and he had an upholstery business, so
Oh yeah, I forgot about
so I
that.
would go with him to his jobs. We'd go to like Denny's, and he would replace the seat covers and stuff, and I would like pull out the staples for him and cut the edges of the vinyl. And he never continued that business, but that might have been where it started. I also think I never like I did fine in school. I never like excel in high school, at least. I never like excelled, I feel like. I mean, I did definitely try, especially in high school. Things got harder and they started to matter more. And then like, oh, this course also counts for college credit. And I was like, oh, that's probably a
Yeah,
good idea.
it was
Pretty
interesting
solid.
how that went. Like the college credit
Yeah.
things, and then some of them didn't even ever carry over. So
Right.
like NCC, I was like, huh,
Yeah.
wonder how that works. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's cool. And then I think well, like before I mean, it sounds probably cliche, but like before I started working out, I think like was like lower points of my life because I would kind of just,
Yeah.
you know, would eat whatever I wanted, and I still eat whatever I want now, but now like it's
Dude,
more
you could
structured.
you could put food away, dude.
I
You
still
could
can,
put food away.
but I
bro.
did, and it would just I just wouldn't care about the outcome.
Whenever I would see those
Oh
like
my
food
God.
challenges, like who would you get a friend to eat all this,
It was
dude?
always
I would get you to do it. I'm trying to think of my other friends who can like really like eat a ton. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, dude, once again, the garbage plates, bro, were just sensational
sensational.
back in the day. Watching Jet Li. Ah, man.
Our pizza at my house, pizza and wings, that was another staple.
Pizza and wings, cheese.
But once I started working out, and like it's kind of a thing that you can't get overnight. You have to work on it. Like the results don't come quick. So I guess I started like believing in the long game to a degree.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't seem like right now it's, fully in your control, or doesn't seem like right now is it doesn't always feel like the right thing yet, but at least if you know you're working towards something,
Cool.
helps keep you in it. So I would say working out helped apply that work ethic towards everyday life, and then just getting older and getting more mature and realizing that my decisions have consequences, and then probably went as far back as like I said, with my dad working from
Interesting, man. Interesting.
couple things.
Well, thanks
yeah.
for that. So, this could be a little. This is a little adjacent to that, but you did actually a whole episode on flow state and creativity and all that. And I was wondering if you could shed some light on that because I have times with the podcast specifically and writing my own music. So as I mentioned, Subhuman's basically done. I've been done for 3 years now. It's been like, well, I've had basically I had everything recorded besides drums or whatever for the last like year and a half. And so um, I'm starting to like want to write new songs. So I already have like three more on the horizon. And so sometimes like lyrics or like a chord melody will just like pop into my head, or I'll hear a song and I'll think that it'll be going from this chord to this chord, and like it doesn't. And then I'm like, oh, what if that happened? And then
That's
like,
so
what if I
sick.
put my own yeah, I have a couple more and it's cool. It's just very exciting because the next album, like the first one, our first one was more like a demo or whatever. And then if Subhuman ever it comes an album or makes sees the light of day, as I keep mentioning, it's gonna be that's like a concept album of someone like almost losing their faith and gaining it at the end, but super dark and whatever. And then I have already the name of the second album that I want to do. I'm calling it, and so it's all about basically my will to live or not wanting to live. So it's kind of the whole theme
Damn.
of did I is my true self like at rock bottom? Like do I have to get to rock bottom like ultimate self decline to find myself, or is um is it the opposite? Like as I discover myself, do I really see, oh, there's really a lot of not good and healthy habits in Ben and in the way he lives his life and whatever. I might bleep out the name, but actually I might not either, because who knows? It'll be coming out in 2028. But I'm writing all these songs, and then I'm like, dude, I'm even doing like piano, like just like simple melodies or whatever. I can actually like put on the piano now, but I just need to find like certain piano like synths that fit like my specific wants and just like piano like presets that like have enough reverb and like decay to it that are to my liking and whatever.
Hmm.
So there was a reason why I brought that up.
Flow.
Yes. So in flow state, like this one song I was working on, Afterthought. Um, it literally just was happening. Like I found this like I heard this one song that had like a piano with an analog decay to it, so it would be like so it's only like three chords, but it has that like. Do you know what I'm saying? It's more like that EDM type of piano
Yeah.
that you would hear on like Coldplay or Zed or whoever, and then things would just start popping up to me, and then like unless I wrote something down, like my notes section on my phone, I had to take it off because it was like 10 gigs. Because on my notes section,
Wow.
I have a couple
It's like
like
your whole
random.
phone storage.
Yeah, I know. I have like 60. I have to remove so many apps just to go and film something for an hour and a half because an hour and a half of gigs will be like 20, or an hour and a half of video will be about like 25 gigs or whatever. So it's a lot. Um, but it's so interesting for me. Once again, I'm just giving context to the way I see it, and then you can give a little bit more of the scientific or just some more of the behind the scenes stuff on what's going on with your brain, like chemically or whatever that where it is when you get in that rhythm. Because I even noticed it sometimes with podcasting. You brought up different names and whatever. I'll have just um, certain topics come to my mind. I'm like, oh, I would love to talk to Greg about that. I heard something about flow state 2 months ago, which reminded me, oh, you mentioned this once in person, probably once, and then I saw you did an episode on it, which I probably listened to. I re-listened to it, and then I'm like, oh, I'll get you in a month, and here we are.
Yeah.
But I think it's so in creating, that's one thing that's I feel like keeping my mind a little bit more because I'm very much like life wise right now to a certain
Mm-hmm.
degree, but like helping creating whether it's music or these podcasts, which
Mm-hmm.
the podcast does take time editing, probably takes 3 or 4 hours per episode, depending how long it is and if I
Mm-hmm.
want to splice anything else in there. But
That'll put you in a flow state for sure.
yeah,
Editing.
it's just weird how it's like I'll have stuff and then I won't. Like all these songs from Subhuman, dude, I wrote like senior year of high school. That was 2016. It's 2025 now. You know. I think
Interesting.
I probably
So
wrote
what's
most of the
the
stuff at the end of 2018.
yeah? What you're describing, I don't know if it's well. So like I just know this from experience. Like I know the flow state stuff just from experience, and I'm not like I haven't like studied it as part of like a psychology program or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
I
But
just know you know
yeah,
about it.
my first therapist recommended this book to me called Flow, and it was that's where it started for me.
Huh.
It's a book called Flow, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the author's name because it's his last name. No joke, has 10 or 12 letters in it. Um,
Sorry,
you see
continue.
it?
Yeah, it's his name is spelled. His first name is spelled Mihaly. So
It's like
Mihaly
it's like Mikhail or something.
C, and then the last name is CSLKZ. I messed up. Sorry. CSLKSZENTMIHALYI.
That's 16 letters.
But his like first name is in his last name. That's crazy, man. That's four. Oh, I'm bugging. That's 6 consonants in a row before you get a vowel in his last name.
he's
How to
a
achieve flow
professor.
state.
He's a professor. I think he passed away, but
Yeah, it's called Flow: The Psychology of
Happy.
Optimal Experiences. That's
Yeah,
the side title. Yeah.
So that was helpful. The book was great. It's very kind of heavy, and they talk about various cultures, and they talk about people who live in Antarctica, and they talk about people who are from Japan, and like just how various cultures have the optimal experience, and um what that means. So like when you're doing something and you're so engrossed in it that time flies by and you have no idea, you know?
That's what it's like editing.
Yeah, exactly. I probably experienced it in martial arts. Many people do, you know, because your body's physically doing something, your brain doesn't have time to overthink and second guess. And
Are you a black belt, by the way?
In 2015, I got my teen black belt in karate, but I don't practice that right now.
Yeah.
I tried to get back into it when I was 21. So between 15 and 21 is when I got into fitness and started lifting, and then that was senior year. But like I didn't get back into martial arts until I turned 21 and I got back into it. I'm like, it doesn't feel like I will stick with this at all.
Yeah.
But now I do kickboxing, and that's dope.
Do you do jujitsu a little bit too still?
I did jujitsu, yeah, off and on. I'm a white belt with, I think, 2 stripes on that. For jujitsu, it's a different belt system. So for karate, there's like 10 or 12 belts, and you get them much quicker. The first colored ones, you get them much quicker.
For brown, purple,
yellow, orange, red even. For jiu-jitsu, it's like much less belts, but it's like much longer time in between. So like someone who's a white belt might not get their blue belt, which is the next one, for like a year or two, you know, and then it gets harder each time. So I think for jiu-jitsu, it's white, blue, purple, brown, black, you know. So there's only 5 belts, but that's like a whole lifetime of a career.
Sorry, I made that little rabbit trail, by the way.
No, it's okay. No, I was just talking about
That was cool, though. I didn't know that about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, there's various ways. Like, I think what I do know is that the research is still kind of like, it's still something that needs to be looked into more as to like why it happens, where it's coming from, right? But essentially, you're just like, you have to. This is an important thing too. The activity that you're doing in order to get into that flow state, it has to be not too hard to the point where you're not successful, and not too easy that you become bored. Does that make sense? So it has to be like
Yeah.
that perfect middle ground of something that keeps you engaged, and something that you enjoy doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the podcast right now, like, it's pushing me enough to like even still syncing up the audio is hard to do when I bring the Logic file or the video file into the Logic file. So
Yeah.
I just kind of I have to click and drag some of the audio to make it line up sometimes with the waveforms, but it's just a slight little bit
Yeah.
of like pulling to the like maybe a quarter of a second to the right here and there, but it's like every 20 minutes. So depending upon how long the podcast is, you have to adjust it couple minutes, and that also has to do with the frame rate and me being an amateur with things. But I do feel like in amount of like when I release a podcast, I'm like,
Yeah,
nice,
right.
dude.
The weight off your shoulders.
Well, but in a way, like it feels good. I'm like, all right, man. Like I might not be doing the career I want or whatever, but like I'm creating. I guess
You're
creating
making
content.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing, making something.
Yeah.
'Cause, dude,
You're putting your name on it. I mean, that's why I liked doing it, because yes, you're not making money from it, but you're still putting your name on it.
The
You're still putting
gratification
it
is-
out. It's manifesting. It's putting something that's in your head out in the world, and that's beautiful. You know.
That's why I was so jealous when you started doing a podcast. I'm like, man, like I don't know how he does it or whatever. Like, 'cause you did a couple, because I just didn't understand the context. And when we were first, I remember the first podcast when we did it with the guys, just our own side one. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could ever do this. Like, it's too. I would just like run out of things to talk about or whatever. But there was also some pressure to, like to be funny and engaging with all 4 or 5 of us there, and there was enough of us that someone always would be saying something. But I never thought I was gonna have my own and whatever. And also one thing too, like just because I put this into my bio, or I looked this up the other day, and I put it in my bio on YouTube. There is between 4.4 and 5.3 million podcasts just coming out of America. So I'm like,
Oh my
hey,
God.
you guys, like, there's these many podcasts, and you came to mind, but also the last 4
Yeah.
years too with media and politics or whatever. Like, that's a lot how people get out there.
Well, you gotta
Messages.
stick with it, because then you should look up the statistic of podcasts that fail. Might even be somewhere in my gift that I'm gonna give you.
Ooh, we'll get to that soon.
But there's a certain amount of podcasts that fail. They don't get past like 10 episodes, like so you're already
Yeah.
halfway there to where I was. So
Well, as for legitimate episodes where the audio's like, I do have video. The audio is,
if the content is
okay.
there,
yeah, I'm just saying the first
like
5 or
sometimes
6.
bad audio can be distracting, but if the content is there and they care what you're
That's what the bummer was, because some of the convos I had in my first couple ones with like my friend David, just some spiritual things we hit on, some stuff Josh talked about, and I did like a strictly like movie and horror thing with Dan Scott. I was like, damn, dude, I'm gonna have him back on probably in May or so. But I'm like, oh, it sucks that I didn't have it at the time. But I just the thing I want to avoid is like I don't want to have too many repeats too frequently, you know. And I don't, and like I said, dude, I'll eventually. At one point, like I need to always be aware of like or be able to receive criticism and feedback. But because it's so low tech and whatever, I'm like, how many subscribers do I actually want? Because on Spotify, I have like no followers at all, and Spotify is where I care about it the most because I use Spotify all the time, and I have like 25 followers there. But on Instagram, like it's so easy to just like, oh, if I follow this person, they'll follow me back. So I'm up to like 160 on the.
yeah. It was tough with the multiple platforms. I think probably just like zeroing in on the one that YouTube, I feel like is cool. YouTube will always be there. So if you want to post like a video on YouTube, you do the videos on Spotify, right? Did you figure out how to do that?
I do the same. I do the same video file to Spotify and to YouTube.
Yeah. So you can keep doing that. Instagram, I feel like where you want to shine with Instagram is going to be the short clips for sure.
Yeah.
That's or like a TikTok. I never did a TikTok, but the short clips, like 15 seconds, 15, 20 seconds for Instagram will hopefully get someone hooked on your episodes.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, where I do feel like I can talk about a good amount of things. I'm also super want to learn about a lot of stuff. Like I'm really planning on a couple like having veterans come in and like really like picking their brain on their experience and whatever. One of my favorite guys, I mention him all the time, so I'll stop after this one, guys. I promise. This guy Julian Dory, he has, dude, like people from all. He's like kind of like a Rogan, but he's like 29, or he might be like 30 or whatever. Like he left his Wall Street job to do podcasting, and he has like it's just like they talk about a ton of geopolitics and world news and but he'll have like Navy SEALs and all these crazy people on. I'm like, dude, how are you pulling all these people, man? And he has really high quality stuff. But also, I think once again, if once I get once I can go to multi angle, I think that'll just step it up too. And learning how to edit that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's probably a lot better ways to edit than what I have. But even like I said, the mics, like they're functional, man. They work for now. Like, dude, I would love to have those $600 mics. But just not currently right now. But I'm just having fun doing what I can. And if people want to listen, it's cool. But also, I'm not. It's just that balance, right? Like I like doing this. It's fun. If you guys want to have different people on, or please let me know. I always try to ask like people like try to engage with like my audience or whatever. I'm like, let me know who you want to come on next, and like nobody will ever do.
No, it's
or
okay.
Listen.
Once you start, like if you take a look at the website I showed you, once you like tap in and see like, oh, that I wanna know about that person, or I wanna like, then you might start to notice like a theme.
Absolutely. I think I'll just get better. That's my thing. It's more like for me.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
Either.
And I'm not saying there's no pressure because like, oh, there's no pressure, so like my ego never gets bruised or whatever. It's like, dude, I know what it is. Like, I should know audio. Like, this is super low tech. Like, even these mic arms are kind of low tech. But I'm like, dude, they work for me, man. They're solid.
Are these?
I don't need a $300.
Did you get the same one? No, these aren't the same ones that I had.
No, they're different. I got these at Guitar Center.
Nice.
But yeah, man, it's all for fun and stuff, but it's also to create and grow and what's everyone should be like asking themselves like, what's my niche? Like, what do I like?
Mm-hmm.
Do I like having conversations with people? Do I like learning? Do I like playing music? Like, am I really into the gym? Am I really into like food or
Cooking.
like theology, or maybe you're into politics and you're like well spoken, or your rocks,
dirt, trees.
That's
funny.
Oh my god, man!
We had a mind meld moment there.
Backtracking really quick, I meant to you had a couple really cool and informative, I thought, and like pretty well like broken down videos on Greg Build Skills, your Instagram.
Yeah.
Where when you were talking about fitness and you were talking about like when doing workouts, you're talking about like it's more about your and our friend Shane would totally have described this. It took me a little bit to learn, but like form over weight and like high reps over or high reps over with low weight to start. Right. Like less is more. I remember you said.
So I put a video about
listen to your body.
It was like 3 ways to avoid injury when you're starting out or on your fitness journey. Form over weight. So don't worry about like loading up and trying to do a 50 pounds or whatever for bicep curls or whatever.
I keep doing.
Focus on
I tell myself I can do 40s, and then I look at my form in the mirror. I'm like, damn, bro. How much shoulder movement can you have when you're curling? By the way.
That's a really good question, actually.
Nice.
You don't want to have a ton because then you're gonna work your shoulders more. So, when you're trying to do bicep curls, just try to keep your arms locked tight to your body.
Yeah, like no space between your armpits.
Yeah, you probably don't want any more than, if we're talking degrees of motion, right? Like this is 90 degrees at your shoulder height. So, and like anything down here, like this is still shoulder. This is still shoulder, So,
damn.
I guess like between here and here. So
it's so interesting too, because even when I do chest, sometimes do the bench press, it's like this part right in between where your armpit is, like this part of your chest that like goes up here. What is that called? This muscle that's like right here.
Your pec?
Yeah, your upper pec or whatever.
Yeah,
That kills the most when I
pec
do.
major.
Yeah, pec major. So when I do bench pressing, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah.
Jeez,
My
man.
chest is definitely the biggest, like the most prominent part of my body.
Hell yeah, man. You can tell. I'm gonna see really
Thanks.
quickly if I can. I don't know if you had anything else to mention on that. I'm gonna see if I can try to find
Well,
that.
what was your question about the video? Like, that was my
Oh,
first video. Like when I officially started like the business, that was the first video I came out with, and it was very structured. Like I changed up how I recorded things. Like I said, my buddy Aaron helped me with that. I had a lot more confidence.
yeah. Which one is it about the high reps and forms?
This
Do you remember which
this right
thumbnail?
here, I reposted it.
For overweights. Don't worry about lifting heavy. Want to make sure the right muscles are working. Higher reps to start.
Yeah.
What it's doing quicker. Less is more. Listen to your
So
I love this stuff. This is cool, man.
that's what I was saying about the quick stuff too. Like I try to with I do tend to get a little bit too mansplaining about things, but
Oh, come on. You're not.
for fitness you have to kind of you say one thing and people can take you really like at face value for exactly what you say. So I learned like
Dude, I know you
sometimes
very well. You're not a mansplainer.
thanks.
I
Um,
probably am.
No, what I mean is like I get really wordy and I get really scientific, but doing the shorter videos helps me keep it tight, keep it high and
Yeah.
tight. And I like trying to explain things to people as simply as I can and make sure it's not like overly scientific, because the overly scientific stuff is for the other fitness professionals. But if I'm trying to talk to you, or if I'm trying to talk to a client that I'm going to work with, I'm going to say like just squat down, like or just tell you to do something so that you don't overthink it instead of being like, if there's a cue that they really, and I try to do funny
Thought
stuff.
about skipping pull-ups. Oh my god, dude! If you told me to do a pull-up, I would. Do you think Chris Evans was on steroids when he did that?
He was on super soldier serum.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, pull-ups are my hardest exercise. Oh,
You're welcome.
Yeah, I gotta get moving with that again. But content doesn't really make me any money, but it hopefully gets people.
But it's good though.
It's just an ad. It's like an ad for myself, promoting myself with that.
You need to have a social media presence.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. Even like I said with this guy David Saint Germain, like he recorded an album in Nashville,
Oh wow.
and they did it in like 5 days or whatever, which is like freaking crazy that they even did that. Like that is incredibly mind blowing, and just listening to like the way that the technology that they work with and that they do is like
Next level.
it's like, dude, why can't why can't two things be true at the same time? Like, yeah, people dude, like have different knowledge about different things in life. And if you want to do a similar stream, like you don't have to feel bad about or like I don't know this, I don't know that. It's like why can't you just enjoy yourself, man? And like I remember I was talking to another one of our friends about like comedians. I mean, I brought this up at dinner where I was like, well, this guy is still funny regardless of people think the ego got to his head or he's he's lost touch with sense of like normal people in normal society. But I'm like, well, this guy's still funny, and other comedians can still be funny as well. Like I was talking about one of my favorite comedians, and this guy was saying he's like, well, no, he's not funny because my favorite comedian's funnier. It's like we can all be funny and we can all like do our own streams, and like I just want to be like, and it sounds cringy, but I just want to get 1% better. Like hopefully, like just started in a basement with a camera, no mics,
Mm-hmm.
no backdrop,
Yeah.
no extra No computer, no monitor, and then I added the monitor, and then I came down here, and then I'm working on the backdrop. I'm trying to just have other things here too, just to have like decorations for the room and whatnot, because I'm gonna be here for a little while. Then we added the on-air sign and all this stuff. So cool, man. Cool. So how about gift time? How are we feeling about that?
Cool. Sounds good to me.
So I mentioned this
You can go
randomly
first.
when me and you were in Atlanta for the wedding, and I don't know if we were talking about Batman specifically or something else, but we must some our comics must have came up or whatever. So I read
Yeah, it came up and you were telling me.
this book was at the Merrimack Public Library a while ago. So it's called
Oh my
Batman
God.
Child
That's thicker than
of
I
Dreams.
thought. Damn.
And so
Whoa.
I would love your feedback on it.
Oh
so
my God, dude, it's anime. I didn't know it was anime.
So, dude, this guy Kia Asayama.
Oh my
He's like
God.
an I almost said the wrong word. What's the Japanese porn hentai?
Yeah.
I'll blurt it out. He does anime. I always get anime and hentai confused. Because sometimes like Josh will talk to me about it. I'm like, yeah, like you like watching hentai, right? He's like, what do you mean, Ben?
Oh my God.
I don't know how I mess it up.
Wow,
So this
that's funny.
guy, Kia Asayama, is well known. If you read the back, or if you want to read it into the mic, you can. But it's it's a Japanese guy who did a take on. So Batman goes to Tokyo, and it's screw it, bro. Read the
Dude,
either
this
the inside lip or the back.
I am psyched about this.
Yeah.
I did not know it was an anime, so I think that's cool. Or I didn't know it was a manga rather. It's probably but and wow, okay.
I
I
love
love Batman, as
yeah.
you know. So
We'll get into that in a
damn.
second.
So if you could be anyone, who would you be? There's a drug on the streets of Gotham that will make your dreams come true. For a minute, for an hour, for a whole night if you're lucky, you can literally become your idol, provided your idol is one of Batman's greatest enemies. The price for your fantasy come true? It's steep, as steep as it gets. But for a taste of criminal glory, it's a price many are willing to pay. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So essentially, it's like a Japanese like reporter gets involved with Batman, and then he has to go over to Tokyo.
Wow.
And some of the imagery, dude, is just amazing. There's a couple like normal or some familiar Batman characters in there. That's like so cool. I remember reading it, and I was like, "Damn, this is just like so cool." And I wasn't a big comic book guy, but this is like, dude, this could be like pre-NCA that I was reading this.
You
or
picked this
whatever.
up for me?
Yeah, of course, man.
Appreciate
So
it.
it was actually, I just happened to look. I'm like, oh, this book. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, Greg would like this, but I'm like, it's probably can't find it at the library. So I randomly looked it up, and I found it for like actually like wicked cheaper than I would normally. So
Let's actually. Is there any information about the author in here?
it should, yeah.
Oh, wow. Mr. Asamiya has written and illustrated literally dozens of novel-length mangas, which are as popular with readers today as they were when he were originally. Silent Mobius, Steam Detectives, Martian Successor. Wow. I'm going to check out his other stuff. And he partnered with this guy, Max Allen Collins. Interesting.
Yeah, so this is some of the stuff he. Yeah, Japanese manga artist. People search.
Oh,
for.
what's Dark Angel? That looks cool.
Dark Angel Phoenix Resurrection?
I think I like 90s and 2000s anime.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's what
The art style is
I really like it. So give me your feedback on it.
Yeah,
There's a
I
couple
will.
things where just like his cape when he's like just doing Batman stuff in the middle of the night.
just
And
doing
it's like,
Batman
oh,
stuff, dude.
Just a lot of those iconic.
And if you know who Michael
photography.
Keaton is, Michael Keaton's Batman from 1989, this looks heavily influenced on that, which is cool.
Yeah, so this is a great thing too. Like, where do you fall with the new Batman series with Robert Pattinson? Like, are they doing more with him?
Yeah, they are. Not till the movie keeps getting delayed. I don't know where it's at now, but I'm gonna be like 20. I'm gonna be like 28 when it comes out.
Wow.
So like,
Really?
but
Why
yeah,
that
and
long?
I remember, I think it came out in 2021 or 2022. Me and Josh saw it at like 10 p.m. and then we came back home
At like 2 a.m.
and we recorded a podcast about it
Nerd
right after.
Splurge?
Yeah, Nerd Splurge.
About the Robert Pattinson one.
Yep.
Really?
It was like our review right away.
Oh shoot, I need to listen
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to that.
I hope it's still. I might have deleted it. I hope it's still on there. But, anyways,
YouTube?
maybe. um, I when I saw it in theaters, I thought it was awesome. I also could have been tired, but I thought it was really good. I've seen it 3 total times. The first time in theaters, the second time I fell asleep, and then the third time I was actually watching it with my girlfriend, and so I was able to like experience it again with her.
Shout out Jamila. We'll
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
on for third wheeling at some point.
It was good. I am excited to see where the universe is going to go. Actually, the Penguin just came out. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
that, but
yeah, I saw that. It's
been
is
out for a
Colin
while
Farrell?
now.
Is he doing that?
yeah, that's probably. I wonder. I haven't looked at it, but that might be gaining a little bit more popularity than Batman 1 did because people like
Really?
struck so well with that character in the movie that they decided to come out with a show. But that's really good too.
Yeah.
And so yeah, where do I stand on it? Time will tell. So far, they're rebooting the DC universe, so all of the movies that you may know, like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, or Man of Steel, or Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all those movies that came out.
Henry Cavill will always be Superman, though.
I like him as Superman. Yeah, definitely. But he's a very dark, kind of grim Superman.
That's what it seems. I just saw a video of the new guy. Who's the new actor?
His name is David Corenswet.
Corin Sweat. Interesting.
It's a weird last name, yeah. But my last name is GDANIAN, so that's also weird.
I like your last name.
Thank you. Why'd you look up film noir?
So Matt Reeves, who directed
Yeah, Batman.
Batman, that it's filmed to be like film noir. So film noir, meaning black film in French. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Is a stylized genre of film characterized by cynical heroes, stark lighting, and intricate plots often found in American crime dramas of the post-World War II era. So, you heard of Sin City by Frank?
Yeah.
Oh boy, who he did
Miller?
300? Frank Miller, yeah, 300. So all that stuff where this is a great photo because it's like stuff like this where there's
Yeah.
a lot like for movies it's like this. There's a lot of plotting, narrating,
There's like jazz playing in the background. And,
yeah,
and
like
he's
Al
narrating
Capone
it.
movies
He's like,
and
man, that girl, she was beautiful, but she
Yeah.
got away, and now I'm stuck in here working on this detective case, and this guy was murdered, but all I can think about is my woman at home, and
yeah. So sorry to
God
repeat.
damn it, I want to drink this scotch.
I know, right? Sorry to repeat myself, guys, about this specific topic, but I think it's relevant to bring up. So I just watched the movies The Godfather. Like, you know how those are considered one of the greatest movies of all time?
I just read something about that today.
That's funny.
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't really rock with it that much. Like, it
Oh,
is
wow.
good, and Al Pacino's great. There's still a couple other films I need to watch. Gangs of New York, Goodfellas, and what's the other one? Scarface. It's good to know, and I think, once again, regarding even the JFK assassination, like, just learning about history and culture at that point, bro, don't watch the last page, Greg.
No, these are
Acknowledgements.
art.
Oh, yeah, they
Q&A.
do have a little bit stuff in
Anyways.
the background. It's just very much, I don't like the whole
I love this. Thank you, bro.
Jersey. Yeah, man. I'm glad that it works out. So let me know how it is.
Yeah.
I sat down and you can blow through it pretty quickly, to be honest.
I got
But
a bunch of new
add it to your
graphic
Batman
novels that I need
collection.
to read through.
Yeah. So I think you'll like it. So I don't know where it sits in the lore.
Probably what they call an Elseworld story. It's like something that kind of just takes place in the background.
That's what's cool, and you need creative license to still do that though, because it's Batman, right?
Yeah. I don't know if Batman's gonna. I forget what they call it. Go open license or whatever. But
Yeah.
at some point, that's gonna happen.
So, anyways, with the whole film
Yeah.
noir thing and The Godfather, like, I want to look like that's the thing. Like, I like movies. I was talking to Joe Fournier about this last night when somehow it came up or whatever, and he was trying to be charitable. He's like, "Yeah, Ben, with certain movies, like, and no offense." I'm like, "Oh no, the no offense is." You never know what will fall. No
Jeez.
offense. And he was saying that how like some movies like went over my head or whatever. I'm like, oh yes, like that happens all the time. So even though I like movies, I like cinema, I don't always know what's happening because sometimes like I don't think I'm an idiot when stuff is like stuff doesn't need to be spelled out to me all the time. But some of these other like not fringe movies, but like intelligent like film where they don't
Indie
just
film?
give you. No, they don't just like
Oh.
give you.
The info, you
like-
have to like figure it out.
Like
yeah.
you know the movie Seven.
The Departed.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff you got to figure out, or No Country for
So
Old
stupid.
Men, or all that.
I ain't
stuff,
got time to
so.
figure it out. I'm trying to figure them out.
That's fair
I'm just
enough,
kidding.
man.
That's why a lot of people don't want to. A lot of those film directors don't want to go to the movies, or they like. That's why Martin Scorsese was like, he detests Marvel films, I guess, because it's
Yeah.
all for action and big shocks on the screen or whatever, and it's like no one watches cinema anymore.
Isn't it so interesting that in the age of like TikTok and 30-second videos or whatever, like 3-hour movies are still being put out though, because some people just love it,
Yeah,
and that's where it's like
2 hours is like my 2 hours is perfect.
I feel like you mentioned this earlier, so
The next big 3-hour movie I see is probably gonna be Dune Part 3 when it comes
yeah,
out.
well, dude, you never know that. Part 2 of the sixth
Avatar? No.
Mission Impossible movie. It's probably gonna be long.
Yeah,
But dude, I can't watch
the
movies
final.
at like 9:30
that might
or
be the
later.
last one. Really? Yeah. So tired.
Yeah, it sucks, dude, because then you're nodding asleep and and it's like you hear like the sound or the score or whatever.
Yeah, give you my gift.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, we can. At my new apartment, we'll have people over, and like one of the things I thought would be cool is if we did like an old movies kind of night, like black and white movies or film noir movies,
Yeah, that'd be sick. Is Jamila much of a like movie buff? Because she likes anime and stuff, so she's.
Yeah, she likes anime. She likes Marvel as well. She.
Are you going through all the
she's-
movies with
We're
her?
going through all the DC movies, so we're almost done with the old DC movies. As I mentioned before, they're rebooting everything in DC now, because James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy, he's now the new CEO for, I don't know if it's CO or CEO for I think for Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's heading everything. Warner Brothers, I think, owns DC or something like that.
Is that like a good thing or bad thing? You think?
I think it's gonna be good. Like, I'm excited for it. I think that a lot of stuff went wrong with the other films, and if he does this right, like he used to work for Marvel, right? So it's kind of like an insider secret. He is gonna set up like 5 to 9 years of films to like culminate in an Avengers style film. He's gonna take his time with it, not
Yeah.
rush it like some of the other DC movies did. That was where the downfall was with some of those, like Batman v Superman, and
Yeah.
they
That was
tried
kinda
to
like
do
a
like the
stain
Justice
on-
League like really quickly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're watching them now because they're still relevant, and some of them are really bad.
What do you think of Ben Affleck as Batman?
I think he like looked the part
Yeah.
pretty nice. Like had a good build for it, and just
Yeah, he got yacked for that. Good.
yeah, exactly.
Goal for sure.
All right, so this is called "Make Noise: A Creator's Guide to Podcasting
Ooh.
and Great Audio Storytelling." So, I listened to this on audiobook, and it was like one of those things where you listen to it, and it was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, oh, I want to apply that to my show, right away, right? So he is a media consultant and podcast creator, developing some of NPR's most successful podcasts, including the TED Radio Hour and Invisibilia, and bringing programs like Fresh Air with Terry Gross and Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me to the podcasting universe. So it covers all kinds of topics. I got this for you, and I also went in with a sticky notes, and I like put pages
Hell
on
yeah.
like my favorite parts of the book. So
Sweet.
Yeah, some of the contents include like stories, characters, and voice, only 10 words that matter, function and form, asking questions, how to tell a story, audience building, and like covers a lot of different stuff about podcasting.
Sweet.
Maybe I can find that statistic about, I probably won't be able to, but I do kind of want to touch on, yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so it's
As you're-
for someone who falls into one of these three categories: a curious novice interested in starting a podcast, an experienced maker looking to improve your skill or push your work to the next level, or someone from a company or organization interested in using podcasting as a means to connect with audiences, customers, like-minded people. Um, if I do come back with a podcast, that might be what I do it for, to support the business. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Also, remember, podcasts don't have to be super long or whatever.
exactly.
You could do 20-minute podcasts, 30 minutes.
But yeah, likewise, I hope you read this. And I just want to touch on the 10-word part because he has like a list of, it's called Eric's Forbidden Words list. And it's a list of words that you cannot use when describing your podcast. So
Excellent.
it really forces you to like actually get creative and like use different kinds of words. So it's like
Lay it
the
on me.
first word on that list is amazing. Like you can't use amazing, can't use astounding, can't use awesome, can't use beautiful, best, brilliant, classic, compelling, curious. Like,
Curious or compelling. Interesting.
yeah, I guess they're like, when you have a show, your title is gonna be it, right? Like your title is gonna be one of the big things that like draw people in. And so I think then you can write a 10-word description of your show. It helps you write a 10-word description of your show in a way that distinguishes it from everything else in the world. So,
Let's see. Chop it up with friends. Kill time. Speak what's on my mind. Yeah. That's not enough. It's like 12, not 10. But yeah, that's what the catchphrase is because I'm like, I'm not here to like educate people. I'm just, if you want to learn my, or hear the world through my, or not the world, but just my experience, that's what
Yeah.
this is. And
there's also stuff in there about like finding your audience and stuff too.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And that's where I'm
Connecting.
like, I want more of my podcast to be more about the guests. And that's where like talk less about yourself.
Oh, I think there's a chapter in there called "Shut Up."
Really?
I might
me
have put
go
a
to-
sticky note on it, maybe.
Let me go to the table of contents. Shut up. Story, character, voice, the only words that matter, function, form, asking questions, how to tell a story, aka don't be boring, audience building, creative teams, time to go forward. Not seeing it in here, but
No, it might have been like a little subcategory.
cool. Awesome, man. Well, great. I appreciate it, man. This was good to chop it up with you, man. Is there anything else we wanted to cover or go on? I guess actually really quickly, I'll cut myself off. I'm trying to get back into like, I feel like another part of maturing is like, dude, like read some books. Like this book I just grabbed, it's called The Devil's Chessboard. It's the subtitle is Alan Dulles, the CIA and America's Secret Government.
Mm-hmm.
So it explains like this guy Alan Dulles was the longest tenured director of the FBI. Same as J. Edgar Hoover. They had both started at relatively like similar times from what I know. I could be wrong on that. Maybe I should look that up. But they're both in there for basically 50 years. And Alan Dulles was a big, he was a guy that like was the head of CIA, which was, from the 30s to, 60s, 70s. There were so many military coups, like overthrowing of government that was happening all over the place, man, from Southern America to like Cuba, stuff going on in the Congo, like France, all this crazy stuff. And I mentioned a little bit of it, or some of that stuff in the podcast I'll be doing on the JFK assassination. But that's a book where I'm like, okay, it's nonfiction and it's not a conspiracy theory because I wanted to do a lot of. I'm into like conspiracy theories are fun, right? But I'm into what really I want to be into is like conspiracy theory adjacent, like the history and the culture and what was actually going on behind. Like we don't have to get into like MK Ultra and all that stuff, but a lot of those things that you hear and see, like a lot of these things did happen. There are records, and there's obviously, a lot of stuff in society and in these upper echelon like state organizations where stuff is super classified and whatever. But I'm like, reading a book like that is like something.
Good way to
where-
get started, you know.
Yeah. So
Same with history. Like, I'm not a big history guy, but I feel like books and movies and podcasts and stuff make that a little bit
Yeah.
more digestible.
absolutely, man.
You know.
Absolutely. Great, man. Well, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Greg GDANIAN. Love you, buddy. Well, next time I'll have you on, we'll do third wheeling with the girl. All right.
Thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
Till next time, people. See you.